Hey guys and girls, Poker Sinking here, back with another video. This time we are going to be talking about Crucible of War Unlimited and why I think there are so many cards from this set that are so undervalued and underrated as well. So Crucible of War is the third Flesh and Blood set that ever came out. It is a supplementary or supplemental set. I believe they changed the wording on that now, but that was the initial name for that style of set. So originally we got first edition Crucible of War and there wasn't a planned unlimited at the time when it first came out. That was just due because it was supposed to be a supplemental set. It wasn't really supposed to be a large print run. Although the print run was larger than ARC and WTR, obviously that was scaled up with the progression of the card game growing, but it wasn't meant to have an unlimited edition. Now we obviously had prices of boxes skyrocket into well over $1,000, and we were having some of the Majestics over $100 each, just for the Majestics that weren't cold foil and non-foil. They were just regular Majestics, but because there were so many playable Majestics in this set that were needed for our decks, we had people paying a lot of money for these cards. So boxes dried up very quickly after release. A lot of the cards were really sought after and hard to get. A lot of players from back then, obviously, if you ask them, were telling you about how much they were spending on some of these Majestics. So they announced the Unlimited print run, and Unlimited came out for Crucible of War, and the first edition prices started to drop quite a bit. So I believe in the peak, Crucible of War first edition was around $1,500. I remember I entered Flesh and Blood just as Crucible of War came out. So I didn't buy a first edition box as soon as it had come out. I actually bought some WTR Unlimited and ARC Unlimited boxes. I wanted to start from the start, so I opened up from the start and kind of worked my way through. And then the first edition box I ever bought was Crucible of War, and I remember paying around £200 each for 4 boxes on eBay, and that was about a month or two. I think that was towards the end of 2020. And I believe they had announced Unlimited by then because the prices had dropped a little bit in the UK. They were still very expensive. I'm not sure what they were in the US at the time, but I know in the UK they were still expensive, above retail, but they were a lot cheaper than they were in their height. So we had this Unlimited print run announced. Unlimited came out. Boxes for Unlimited I was picking up for around £50 a box, which is about $60 to $70. I don't know what they were in the US, they might have been a lot cheaper. I know you can get boxes now for Monarch Unlimited for around $50 still, which is about £35. So Crucible of War came out, the Unlimited came out, the prices started to drop quite a lot on a lot of these Majestics, but there are a lot of staple Majestics. A lot of the equipment in Crucible of War is very sought after. The Gambler's Gloves has always kept a good price, the Metacarpus Nodes, the Breeze Rider boots also, and there's a couple of others as well. Obviously you've got Gorganian Tome, which is a short printed Majestic because it has legendary on the text, so it does have the border in the style of a legendary, and that comes in foil and non-foil. These are printed at a lot less rate than the normal Majestics are printed, so generally getting one of those, especially in rainbow foil, even though it's a generic, it's not really used all the time. Some decks people will play it and some don't. I've been speaking about this actually with a lot of people in the community recently, and they really have. It generally is kind of people either play it or they don't. It's not particularly amazing. It's not particularly bad. It's just people, decide to play it or not. So that's definitely a card that has a very good opportunity to rise in the future. Obviously, we know that non-foils can get reprinted at any point, though I'm not sure it's a card that probably will get reprinted. I don't think there's ever need for it. So that is probably unlikely going to happen. Obviously, the rainbow foil, we haven't had any rainbow foils reprinted yet. There is still the chance that they can reprint cards in different art styles. So the same card, but a different artwork. That is entirely possible. We had it with Command and Conquer. We obviously had the Fable Command and Conquer come out in Dynasty, which is a really beautiful card, but a very sought after card. That's very expensive. I think prices for that are in the late $100 now, because it's such a rare card and such a sought after card, as well as the artwork obviously being really stunning. So when we go back to Crucible of War, we look at the rainbow foil equipment now, which is starting to rise. You've got the harmonized Kadachi. You've got Death Dealer, the Mandible Claws. You've got the Anthos. There's quite a few in the set. You've got the Plasma Pistol as well, I believe. There's quite a few equipment in that set that is starting to rise in rainbow foils now. So you're seeing some of them are $20 to $30 now because people are starting to pick up a couple of copies. And generally, there aren't that many copies on the market at any given time, honestly, just because you usually get around a couple of 2 to 3 rainbow foil equipment slash hero slash the tokens as well. So you don't get a very large amount per box, and not many people have and are opening Crucible of War Unlimited currently. That's probably why the singles in that set have kept a good price compared to a lot of sets. Obviously, the EV for Crucible of War, if you're not hitting these Majestics that are needed, then the EV is very low. I recently opened a Crucible of War case that I was doing a search for the tunic, and the EV on some boxes was shocking versus other boxes, and I wouldn't have made profit if I hadn't pulled the Fiendel Spring tunic. So I pretty much would have broke even, which my cost price was £200. That's how much cases of Crucible of War were late last year, and I think they're in sort of £400 now since the print run was announced, and numbers have dried up as well over here. So we've kind of had, there's a little bit of a mix there as to reasons why, but Crucible of War is very hard to find now. Under £100 in the UK. I'm not sure what the price is in America. I know it has been rising. A couple of channels I know, they track the prices, and Crucible of War has outstripped WTR for the value it is, as well as Europe as well. I believe it's actually gone further than what WTR values are. So we obviously know Crucible of War as a whole was the least printed set ever made. If you add the first edition and the unlimited print runs together, that's printed less than any other set that we have the print numbers for. So there's a lot of reasons as to why Crucible of War is such a great set if you're collecting and also sort of speculating and investing in. I generally don't talk about many specific cards that I think you should pick up. There's plenty of other channels out there that will talk about these kind of cards. So, and I've always said that I don't think I offer anything that, YouTubers like, for instance, Stackswell, he does videos where he goes on the market, Ridderman Gaming, they go through specific cards maybe that could be picked up, that could be undervalued. Go check them out if you're also interested in seeing similar content like that. But generally I'll talk as a vague term, so obviously these Rainbow Foils, Gorganian Tome is probably the only really specific card. And of course you've got things like, there's 2 legendaries, you've got the Shiana and the Fiendel Spring Tunic. They're both on the rise now. You've got the Art Knight Shard, which it went up to around $700-800. I think it's traced back a little bit now. I know in the UK, the cheapest I saw on Card Market was around £600. I think last sols were a little bit less than that. Of course, you need to kind of have a look at the last sol. I know there were sales of up to $700 for the Rainbow Foil Art Knight Shard, but I don't think we've had any since then higher than that. So I think it's traced back a little bit, and the hype started died down now. So Rainbow Foil equipment, the weapons are potentially really good pickups from Crucible of War, and it's one of the reasons why I think Crucible of War is such an underrated set. It's starting to garner a lot more attention now than say 12 months ago. Maybe if I'd made this video 12 months ago, it would be better suited than it is now, but in the grand scheme of all the Flesh and Blood sets, we've got 9 main sets, and then we've got the history pack sets. Crucible of War is the one I think that is a bit of an underdog, as well as Everfest, but Everfest we are yet to get the unlimited print, so I probably wouldn't rush to be buying boxes of Everset or a load of the singles from that set right now. But another thing to add as well is when History Pack 1 came out, Crucible of War has the least amount of cards in History Pack 1, so it's mostly WTR and Arc, and then there is a small portion of it as Crucible of War. So there are a lot of cards that haven't actually had a reprint yet, probably because they're generally not very playable, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to be playable in the future. Obviously new heroes get introduced, you have new weapons being made as well, so that is a counter argument as to perhaps maybe picking up these Rainbow Foil weapons specifically in Crucible of War. I wouldn't say get a load of copies of them, but maybe just get a couple for if you need them in the future. If you decide to play a hero that needs those weapons, then you've got them already and you're not having to pay a exaggerated price in a year or two, or maybe even 3, depending on what kind of heroes we get. But thanks all for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe as always, and have a great day.